fellas, I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome into another exciting, happy edition of Sports Junkies as we talk Bucks basketball. I'm Sparky Fifer, Sports Radio 1250 WSSP. This is my happy sidekick, Gery Woelfel here of the Racine Journal Times, and we're going to have some fun, folks. Why? Because the Bucks are ruined right now. They have lost 9 in a row, and things are going swimmingly well. If you want Wiggins or Jabari Parker,
here we go.
You
couldn't even wait for 3 minutes to bring it up.
Are so happy right now.
No, you're not.
Oh, you're exhilarated.
Oh, absolutely not.
On the Pick and Save Basketball postgame show. Do you want to hear? Oh, another great ball, Sparky. Let's play some celebration. I swear to you, if you don't believe me, go check out the podcast on our website, sportsradio1250.com. Every postgame show has been a glorious, happy celebration after they lose. That is exactly what's happened. Now, let's talk about the team in general. The question I asked last night was, if you are trying to win, okay?
Are you calm down now?
Oh, that's awesome. If you're Larry Drew, okay?
If I'm Larry Drew, I would have submitted my resignation last night.
No.
But anyways.
But if you're Larry Drew, you're trying to win basketball games, obviously. If you're the players, you're trying to win. Nobody's trying to lose on purpose.
No question.
Okay, fine.
Yep.
Who's your starting point guard? Is it Nate Walters, your second-round pick? Is it, because he was the point guard the last time you won a game, starter. Is it Brandon Knight, who just got back from a hamstring injury for the second time? Or is it Luke Rittenauer with his ailing back?
I'll take door number 2.
Brandon Knight,
without a doubt. The guy was a lottery pick a couple years ago. He's only 21 years old. We've only seen a very, very small sample of what he could do. I mean, it's ridiculous. You got to give this guy a chance. You got to give him 1 full year minimum. I mean, you went with Jennings for how many years?
We're trying to win. Now, the caveat is we're trying to win a basketball game. We've lost 9 in a row. We need to win a basketball game.
Wait a second. 3 minutes ago, you were happy that they didn't win a basketball game.
I said we're Larry Drew. Follow along. You're Larry Drew.
Follow the bouncing ball.
Right. You're Larry Drew, and you need to win a basketball game to stop the bleeding. You got the Wizards next and John Wall. You're not winning that one.
It doesn't matter. You should be playing Brandon Knight no matter what the circumstances. You got to give him a chance. You got to see what you have here. And by the end of the season, you should have a pretty good read on the guy, whether he can be your guy going forward. He's 21 years old.
I know how old he is.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay, at the end of the year, I mean, if he keeps getting better and better by the end of the year, you go, hey, you know what? This could be our guy for the next, forever.
Yeah, sure. The best point guard on this roster right now for this offense is Nate Walters. Plain and simple. He knows how to get him in and out of the offense. The offense runs better with him on the floor. Now, again, he's not a great offensive player, but neither is Brandon Knight, and neither is Luke Rittenauer.
He's what?
He's not a great offensive player, but neither is Brandon Knight, and neither is Luke Rittenauer. So from that aspect, you're not losing much. And as you point out all the time, his assist-to-turnover ratio is awesome. Is Nate Walters. You don't have to worry about him turning over basketball.
I agree with it.
So if you're trying to win a game right now, and that's what this is all about, and it's got to be at some point here, you've lost 9 in a row. He needs to go back in there and be a starting point guard.
They can't, though. They can't get away from this.
What, 4 or 5 for the field?
They got to play Brandon Knight. They got to play O.J. Mayo. They got to play John Henson. They got to play the Greek Freak.
Let's talk about the rest of the lineup.
They got to play these young guys and say, hey, we want to see what they can do.
Well, then it's not about winning. I'm fine.
You can win.
No, you're
yeah, absolutely. No. Because I think when
not if you play
Giannis, you can play 15 minutes a game. You can find your pick and choose when you play him. End of the first quarter, early second quarter.
It's not happening. You have Chris Middleton, who's playing well right now. Far better than I thought he was.
I know.
And Caron Butler, we're in Racine, right?
Yes.
Caron, if you're listening.
He's listening right now.
If you're listening, just come closer to the...
He's going off practice.
Come closer to the screen. Listen closely. You're not a three-point shooter.
Yeah, he is.
No, you're not a three-point shooter. You should not be taking 5 to 8 threes a game. You're not it.
Well, what did he shoot for 3 points last year?
I don't care what he shot last year.
What do you mean you don't care?
He's horrible right now.
He's struggling right now.
He had one game where he puts up 38. Before that, he couldn't hit the 3, and now he can't hit the 3. Stop. Put the ball on the floor and go to the rim.
He's a solid 3-point shooter. He's not a great 3. He's not right now. You look at
I know Karan's your guy, but seriously, he's not. Just stop already.
Karan is my guy. But at the same point, if you look at his track record, he's been a good three-point shooter in his career. Not a Mike Dunleavy three-point shooter.
Not a Michael Redd three-point shooter.
No, but how many guys are?
Fine, but those guys aren't taking 5 to 8 three-pointers a game. Karan touches the ball and it's...
Red took 8 three-pointers, trust me.
No.
Oh, he did.
No, in a game from time to time,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, that's what Karan does.
But Karan's not even hitting them and he's taking 5 to 7, 5 to 8.
But you know what? If he's getting open looks, I don't have any problem with him shooting a three.
No. So now Butler's on the bench.
I totally disagree.
Okay, Butler's on the bench now.
Right.
Chris Middleton is starting at small forward.
He started. We'll see if that changes again tomorrow
Okay,
night,
fine.
Wednesday night.
I like Chris Middleton at small forward, and that's what we're going to do, because he's a young player, like you said, so who knows what he's going to be. And he's been consistent, at least at this point. So I'm fine with Middleton at the 3. Now, the other issue I have, and again, we're talking about if we're trying to win here.
Yeah.
O.J. Mayo, I don't know what Larry Drew is telling him, and I don't know what those assistants are telling him. But there should only be one thing they're telling him. You're taking 20 shots a night, OJ.
Yep.
That's all you're taking 20.
I do agree with that.
And I know, OJ, you want to pass the ball and be a team player. You don't want to be selfish. That's not your personality. You want to be a team guy. I get it, and I'm fine with it. But this is where we're at, OJ. On this team, on this Bucks team, you're Kobe Bryant, you're Michael, you're LeBron, you're Durant.
He's all of them? Wow.
No, well, he is that guy on this team.
Yeah.
He must be the guy that scores 20 plus
Well,
every night.
he's
He can't have games where he has 5 and 4 points because he took 5 shots. That's inexcusable.
He's got to be their go-to guy offensively. And he did. There was a 3-game stretch where he was the guy, and the Bucks played pretty darn well.
Yes.
So, no, I wholeheartedly agree. He's got to become a minimum 18-point per game scorer.
If they're going to win games, he's got to be over 20.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what happened to it, but it was crazy because he had a beautiful 3-game stretch, and you think, like, he looks like a potential all-star. Then all of a sudden, next 3 games, it's like, what happened here?
Yep.
And something happened because, I mean, you just don't disappear like that. I can understand 1 game, maybe 2 games, but no. But I totally agree. And the other thing is, they got to get a handle on where John Henson fits into this team.
Well, it's clear. He's on the bench. He ain't getting off the bench. He's outproducing guys that are starting, but he's not getting off the bench.
That's where I totally disagreed with Larry Drew. When Ersan Ilyasova was out, I said it then, that was the perfect opportunity to throw Henson into the fire, let him play 30, 35 minutes a game, and see what happens. Instead, they put Caron Butler at power forward. He's not a power forward. And they bring in Middleton, who has played, in fairness to him, he has played well. But going forward, do you think Chris Middleton is your guy? I don't know. But my point is, Henson's got to play major minutes. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy was a first-round pick, a high first-round pick. He flashed great games last year. What I would actually do is play Henson at center. He's going to get overpowered by the big guys, obviously. But at the same time, he's so long. He gives you a defensive presence something that Zaza just simply doesn't do.
And Henson at center is something that, depending on who they end up taking in the lottery, might still be something that comes to fruition at some point, depending on what happens with Larry Sanders.
Henson could have been the 5th selection in the draft last year. In fact, I was talking to George Carl, and he said they were trying to figure out a way to get ahead of the Bucks so they could draft Henson. And I'll tell you what, the one thing I really noticed about Henson the last couple of games, he's great in the open floor. For a big man, he runs the floor exceptionally well, and he gets a lot of baskets off the break. And, if the Bucks, Larry Drew talked about playing more up-tempo this year. They got to play up-tempo. They don't have any alternative now because they get into half-court sets. They just don't have any interior presence.
Okay, before we wrap up Bucks talk here.
Already?
Yeah. Because this may take a couple of minutes.
Okay.
So what's this thing that you were telling me about, the Ersan Ilyasova, and somebody might actually have interest?
Yeah, I talked to a couple of NBA executives in the last week, and they both said that the word is that Houston has interest in Ersan Ilyasova. And it makes all the sense in the world because they want to stretch for...
Kelvin Sampson is there.
He would complement Dwight Howard, who's a low-post presence. So from Houston's perspective, it makes all the sense in the world. I have been told by sources it isn't a question of whether Amir Ashik gets traded. It's just when he's going to get traded. Right. There is no doubt.
They're not even playing him.
And right now, Houston's general manager, Daryl Morey, is basically feeling out the league. Hey, what can I get for this guy? Because he's got value.
Sure.
I mean, I talked.
He's making $14 million next year, so take that into consideration.
Yeah, so I mean, he's making Larry Sanders money. So I talked to Terry Stotts.
Sanders ain't making that much money. He's making 11.
He'll make 11, basically. Not much difference at that point.
That's $3.5 million. $3.5 million.
Who
That's a player.
Who would you rather have?
I don't know.
You know what? I asked.
I'm not. Ashik is not worth $14 million.
I polled 5 guys, and I said flat out, would you trade, if you were the Bucks, would you trade Larry Sanders for Ashik? Every one of them said, yep. And he said that wouldn't be enough.
$14 million?
That Sanders would not be enough to get Ashik in their minds.
But Ersan would?
Yeah. Yeah.
So would you do the deal then if you're the Bucks?
Not for Ersan. I'd do it for Sanders.
Because you love Ersan. That's why I want to see
No. I do. I like Ersan's game. I think he's first of all, he's a team player. Secondly, he gives them a stretch shooter they don't have.
Correct.
You take him off the roster. Who do they have at the 4 spot that can go outside 5 feet? Nobody.
Nope.
Okay, and the NBA is about that, okay? So if they say, hey, you want Larry Sanders for Ashik? That baby's done. I mean, I don't waste a second. And if I have to throw in Udo...
But they're not going to. They got Dwight Howard. So there's no need to get Larry Sanders.
No, but here's the other part of the equation. There are some NBA people, I would say it's almost a split, 50-50, that believe Larry Sanders is a power forward, that he's not a center. He can play center. He has shown that
Well, he's not a power forward.
That's what...
How? He can't shoot the basketball and he has no post.
You're right. He doesn't have...
He's Ben Wallace. That's what he is. He's Ben Wallace.
Oh,
he's Ben Wallace at the 5. And what did they have? They had Rasheed Wallace, who could post and stretch the floor. The Bucks have Ersan, who can only stretch the floor, and they don't have a post 4. That's the issue with this offense.
I mean, Ben Wallace is a big physical guy, and Sanders is anything but physical. He relies on his athleticism to block. But I see your point. Where
as far as how good everybody's saying as well.
Yeah. But I would trade because here you bring in Ashik. He's still young. He can be your center for the next 6 to 8 years without a problem, okay? All of a sudden, you get a big physical center. You can play Sanders at your power forward spot. You can play Ersan if you want. You know who's going to be the power forward eventually? It's going to be Giannis. He's 6'10" now. He's growing.
And he's rail thin. You have more meat on your bones.
No, it doesn't matter.
He's Gery Woelfel.
Only 18 years old, too.
I'm Steve Sparky, Fifer. Gary knows the ages of all Bucks basketball players, so just ask him in your spare time. That'll do it for another edition of Bucks Talk here. Sports Junkies. Sports Junkies, that's the name of the video. But we talk Bucks here. That'll do it. Here at RacineSportsZone.com.
Captain Tank.